Hello, once again, this is Brother Teacher. Years ago, many years ago, when Conan O'Brien, the talk show host, had on his show as a guest martial arts uh, master and actor Chuck Norris, he asked Norris several questions, and some of those questions were about the late great martial arts master Bruce Lee. And if you pay close enough attention, and if you are honest, you would note that Chuck Norris said that Bruce Lee was very good at what he did in martial arts. But there was a big but, especially when Conan O'Brien asked him about Bruce Lee sparring with Chuck Norris. Chuck Norris made the statement that he had trained with Bruce Lee for approximately 3 years. And he kept mentioning that he was a professional fighter and that he was world champion. Particularly when asked about Bruce Lee and him training together and sparring. And he made a statement at some point making a difference between him and Bruce Lee by saying that he was the world champion, he was a professional fighter, and it's a big difference in sparring in a ring versus just throwing kicks and punches, which is what he was actually throwing shade at Bruce Lee. And if you look at his expression when Conan O'Brien asked him about him and Bruce Lee really mixing it up, you can see the arrogance and the narcissism in his demeanor, that he thought he was superior to Bruce Lee because he felt challenged on some level, but he tried to really tactically play it off. But if you take your time and watch the video, especially the part when he was asked about his and Bruce Lee's sparring or training together, he kept mentioning the fact that he was a professional fighter. Now, don't forget, whoever it is that's watching this video right now, as I'm telling you this, don't forget, Chuck Norris never was a kickboxer. He never was a real fighter. Chuck Norris keeps trying to use the fact that he was a point karate fighter or winner or champion. Point. Where you have a referee, you have corner judges, you have someone stop the fight and award and point a point, basically playing tag. I've done this for many years. I know what it is. And I've done full contact, so I know the difference. So how in the world could Chuck Norris try to make a blanket statement that he was a real fighter or professional fighter over a man who didn't participate in point sparring or competition, Bruce Lee, who actually trained for real fighting every day of his life? How could he have the gall to try to diminish Bruce Lee's ability as a fighter over his own, Norris's own, that is? Norris was not a fighter, was not a fighter during the years that Bruce Lee was living and he was associated with Bruce Lee in any capacity. He was never a real fighter. I put Superfoot Bill Wallace above him and Benny the Jet Urquides over him. I do. Because they fought in the ring. They did. And Norris didn't. Can we say, and some might take this wrong, It doesn't matter if you take it wrong, and this is not my opinion. I'm telling you, I've done this 2/3 of my life. I know this thing called martial science and martial arts inside and out. So, can you say that Norris was jealous of Bruce Lee? And the fact that Bruce Lee got more attention during that time as an Asian martial artist, and he didn't have it. Chuck Norris didn't have that kind of credibility. As a matter of fact, he rode on Bruce Lee's shirt tail. And that's how he became famous. It was not the Wrecking Crew. It was not Good Guys Wear Black. It was not Breaker Breaker that was his break-in, no pun intended, no, his break-in to real stardom. It was him participating and being chosen to play the role in Return of the Dragon with Bruce Lee. That's where he got his break. And he just went on from there, and he built that model, so to speak. And then many, many, many years later, along came Walker, Texas Ranger, which was the biggest thing he had ever done in his career out of many things that he did, because everything else was not successful or as successful as Walker, Texas Ranger. So the story goes. So I'm going to leave that link and or clip of the Conan O'Brien show so that you can look at it and tell me what you think. Was Chuck Norris disrespecting Bruce Lee's ability as a fighter, saying that he was greater in that brief conversation with Conan O'Brien? Let me know what you think.